Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Radio FreakJam.
Good evening, it's Monday, in case you'd forgotten from lockdown, and we're here with Radio FreakJam and another Unsigned session, and this week we're joined by this man. I got it right, I got the point right, I always get it the other way around. Mr. Ian Blackwood, very old friend of mine, internet friend, and we've never met in person, so thanks for coming and joining us tonight, Ian.
It's my pleasure, thanks for having me, Ian.
Well, it's been good to catch up, you know, lockdown. It's been a good time for catching up with old friends and bits and pieces like that. And you and I have caught up, and here we are. You've got loads of new music coming out. We're going to play some old stuff, some new stuff, some borrowed stuff, some blue stuff maybe, if we're lucky.
Love it, I love it. It sounds great.
And you're going to play live for us.
Yes, we're going to give that a shot.
Awesome.
Over the internet waves, see what happens.
So we've got a few people out in the chat room already, so I want to say good evening to all of those. We've got Alex, we've got Jamie, we've got Richard so far. Oh, and the Ian Blackwood, whoever that might be.
Yeah, I threw a little happy face in there.
So man, you know, let's start at the beginning for those of you that don't know you. I've had a pleasure of talking to you lots. You joined us on MSI, we've done interviews and stuff in the past. And so tell people a little bit about yourself as an introduction.
Oh, wow, okay, how much time do we know? Musician, producer, photographer, actor. I mean, I fall under the umbrella of artist, I suppose. But jack of all trades, master of none, I suppose, because I do fancy myself somewhat of a little bit of a carpenter. I don't mind doing repairs around the house, if you know what I mean. And yeah, so.
And you hunt turkeys.
I hunt turkeys. Yes, I hunt turkey and deer. Yep. Try to live a more self-sustaining life. It's if anyone out there who hasn't hunted and think it's easy or crazy, because it's definitely not. And most hunts consist of you going and you coming home with nothing. But the thrill of the hunt is, I love it. It's primal. It's I believe you're answering a centuries-long calling inside your human body. To go out and harvest and try to be sustainable. I grow vegetables in my backyard, and yeah, I just try to live a like satisfying, sustainable, happy life.
So as you said, you've done a lot, and we're going to try and cover some of that tonight. So let's start with some music as an introduction to you, and we'll go back way to the artist life.
Great,
wonderful. So do you want to give us a quick briefing on the artist life before we play some music?
Absolutely. The Artist Life was a band that a friend of mine, Dean Richards, and Dean was an East Coast boy from East Coast Canada, Prince Edward Island. We met when I was on tour with an old band I played in called the Full Blast. We met on a tour, and then we reconnected a few years down the road. I'd quit the band, and I started my acting career, and I'd moved to Toronto, like right in Toronto proper, right downtown. And I was, popping up here and there, commercials, doing TV bits, and I was doing a Nickelodeon show at the time called Instant Star, and then on my off time I was connecting with Dean, and we were starting up this project called The Artist Life, and I think it was about 2006 we started hitting the pavement, hitting the studios, making demos and playing gigs. And then 2008 was when we solidified the proper lineup, released an album called Living, and then toured that, and then signed to a record label called Underground Operations, subsidiary of Universal Music Canada. We put out an EP called Let's Start a Riot, and then we put out a acoustic EP called Let's Start a Campfire, which I thought was kind of fun. We just took the songs and we stripped them down and made them acoustic, which I thought was cool. And then finally 2011 rolled around, we released our first and only, unfortunately, full length called Impossible, which at the time it was a fitting name because it felt impossible to finish. But we got to work with a cool producer named Greg Norrie. He was infamous for a band called Treble Charger, which are from Canada, and he also was one of the guys responsible for people like Avril Lavigne, Sum 41, bands like that, and their start. So got to work with him on the production side of things. First time working with a heavy producer, something that like was really exciting to work on. But yeah, so moving along into Impossible. Yeah, we toured that record, got to tour with bands like Face to Face and Strung Out just before we decided to call it quits in the end of 2011. So, yeah, that's sort of the brief rundown of the band.
So this is a track called I'm Not the Same Anymore. We'll have a listen and then we'll have a bit more chat. So this is I'm Not the Same Anymore by The Artist Life.
So open up the book, don't tell me how the story ends. It feels like a lifetime ago. Pages we filled with our hope for tomorrow, falling apart on the road. We didn't know that was our time, the greatest summer of our lives. And that kiss was our final goodbye. So lay down your arms, surrender that summer. Hope for the best, and I'll always remember we gave up our hearts just for a moment. But I'm not the same anymore. These tattoos are like memories locked inside my head, bringing back a time I don't wanna forget. Sometimes we can't stop wondering what all of it was for. Photographs of love, being young and nothing more. We didn't know that was our time, the greatest summer of our lives. And that kiss was our final goodbye. So lay down your arms, surrender that summer. Hope for the best, and I'll always remember we gave up our hearts just for a moment. But I'm not the same anymore. Our time, the greatest summer of our lives, and that kiss was our final goodbye. So lay down your arms, surrender that summer. Hope for the best, and I'll always remember we gave up our hearts just for a moment. But I am not the same anymore. I am not the same anymore. But I am not the same anymore.
Cool. I'm Not the Same Anymore, The Artist Life there. How's that feel, hearing that all these years on?
Wow, actually, I'm sitting here like lamenting the whole time, thinking everything just started coming back. Actually, just even recording the acoustic guitar track. There's two, of course, acoustic guitar tracks on that record, and one of which is like a $4,000 Gibson J45 or whatever it is that we borrowed from Gibson, the warehouse that's in Toronto.
Nice.
And then the other side, my wife Erin showed up, funnily enough, because I tracked those acoustic guitars right near or on my birthday in 2010. The record came out a year later, but she showed up at the studio for my birthday and she bought me this Epiphone guitar, acoustic master built.
Go on, let's see that properly. Go on.
So yeah, so I'm trying to figure out.
It does your head in.
She bought me this guitar for my birthday, and so I ended up using it as one of the stereo tracks, one of the stereo acoustic tracks. So that was just rushing through my head, and then lyrically, I mean, that's just, you know, a sort of love ballad I wrote Just sort of one of those summers you have when you're a teenager, and it's just the best summer of your life, and you meet probably one of the loves of your life, and you just remember it like very fondly. So that's what that song is about.
Awesome, lovely track.
Yeah.
So, I think we've all gone through our time as musicians as YouTube being a big thing, and we're all trying to sort of conquer YouTube, making videos, and that's kind of how you and I met, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
You've frozen on me, young man.
Yeah, I know. Is the audio still working?
Yeah, the audio's fine. Let me give it a refresh this end, and we'll see what happens. Oh, you're back. Oh, are you back?
I'd be dealing with that a little bit here and there.
There we go. That's all right. Technical. You're in Canada. I'm in the UK. We can't expect it to be perfect all the time, can we? Really? So as I was saying, we kind of met through YouTube,
That's
and
right.
you were working on a project, Ian Blackwood and the Bipolars, which I have to say is still some of the my favourites of the stuff you've done. Some great
Thanks,
songs
man.
there.
That was a therapeutic time in my music. I mean, a lot of it's been therapeutic, but the Bipolars especially was that time. I needed to do something different. Gotta understand, I was 18 in my first touring sort of pop punk band, and then even before that, I started playing bands when I was about 14 years old, very grunge style, like Nirvana style, Soundgarden style bands, and then from 18 to my mid to late 20s, I've been playing kind of the same type of music. And I felt a little bit like I wasn't expanding my musicianship, or my musician skill level, rather. Like, I was just sort of like doing the same kinds of things. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you look at a band like Green Day, who's been doing a very similar sort of sound. I mean, their sound has evolved, but they've been doing kind of the similar sort of message and idea for so long. And it ain't broken, don't fix it. I totally understand that, and I can respect that. But I think for just me, mentally, I was in this bit of a slump where I was like, I got to do something different. And the Bipolars was sort of my ode to trying to express a different side of my creative brain. And some of those tunes I think definitely showcase that.
Yeah, and I mean, mate, I worked on 2 videos for you. I done The Rhythm,
That's right.
which is just an awesome track, which I'm going to play in a minute. And we
Fantastic.
done the Save Me Lego video as well, which was a great project for myself and Tony. We really pushed our sort of limit to what we were doing before. And I watched it the other day. It stands the test of time. It's a good video.
Absolutely. I mean, when you reached out, and it had a little bit to do with the walk off the earth thing and the relationship thing, and then when you reached out and mentioned you wanted to hear some tunes, I sent you some tunes, and all of a sudden you said I'd like you to consider me doing a video for you. Excuse me. And then all of a sudden you guys whipped together this stop motion Lego vid, and it was just, dude, I was so floored. I just couldn't believe it. Like the quality, the time, the effort. It was so cool, and it still is cool. And the tune itself, it just suited it so well, man. Like, you nailed it.
It was lots of fun working on that, and obviously, this is where this has all flourished from with the MSI stuff. But you mentioned Walk Off, so for those that you don't know, your sister Sarah is lead singer and instrumentalist in Walk Off the Earth, a very big Canadian band.
Yeah, 2012 hit, and all of a sudden, it felt like overnight. I mean, the band had been building up, but even without my sister at the time, my sister was earlier on playing in a band called The Creep Show and kind of just doing the touring circuit, 9-10 months a year, touring hard, touring Europe, touring Canada, touring the United States, and on the side doing solo records with Johnny in his studio when she got time off. Next thing you know, they do this 5 people, 1 guitar Gautier cover, and the thing explodes. And Sarah's career changes forever, and it's only been completely uphill from there. And yeah, it's been a wild run to watch my sister go from someone who back in Whistler, British Columbia, which is the farthest west you can go, almost the farthest west you can go other than Vancouver Island in Canada, living out there snowboarding and working in coffee shops, and then me showing up to go to film school and crashing on her floor until I get my apartment in Sechelt, which was just outside of North Vancouver where my campus was. And then she's doing coffee shop open mics. We're doing them together to now all of a sudden, international musician superstars. So it's been a wild ride, man. And it's been amazing to watch her grow and the band grow and the band write these hit songs that are just so good. Like, it's been really cool, man.
And you very graciously organised some free tickets for myself and Tony and Andy and Sarah to go along and see the band at Shepherd's Bush, and they were amazing, absolutely amazing. And I got to meet Zach. Let's not forget
Zach.
Zach.
Good old Zach. That's a fun story too. Little Zach. Zach and I. He was a fan of the Artist Life. That's how I met him. I mean, he was just a young lad when I met him. He was barely a mid-teenager. I think he was 15, 16 when I met him, maybe even younger. I met him at a mall show I was playing with when the Artist Life were on tour with this band called Stereos, and then he came to subsequent other shows, and then he just became a fan of the band, and then we connected over a beer, I think, or probably an illegal beer on his end, and we exchanged email contacts. He ended up doing internships in my studio, which is my basement, and and then now he's working. He ended up taking over the job. I was doing stage tech and sound tech for Walk Off the Earth at the very beginnings of the massive success explosion that is Walk Off. But at the time it hit where I realized, okay, this isn't really the best job for me in my lifestyle anymore. But he was young, he was perfect for the job, and I nominated him, I trained him, and then the band took him, and they've been having him on ever since. And he opened his own studio in Cambridge, Ontario, and he's working every day. He's killing it, man. He's killing it.
Fair play to him. I mean, it's amazing to see just how Walk Off have gone from being a YouTube band to international superstars. So fair play to him, and again, thanks for the little opportunities in the past. With all of that, it's been good. So let's play the rhythm, because this is one of my favourite tracks of yours. It really
my
is.
Version, my very best attempt at trying to write. What was it?
Steelers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle.
Yeah, Stuck in the Middle. This is my very best attempt at trying to write that good of a song.
So this is the rhythm. Ian Blackwood and the Bipolar. Yeah, I can't even say it. Ian Blackwood and the Bipolars. I think you're going to enjoy this one.
2, 3, 4. It starts at your feet, swelling up your bones. It gets so deep, I don't know where it goes. Your body sweat, it'll make your body move. It gets so deep, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I feel a rhythm, it's in my head. I feel it shaking, just shaking it. I feel the rhythm, it's in my head. I feel the rhythm, I feel the rhythm. I feel the rhythm, I feel the rhythm. I feel the rhythm, I feel the rhythm. Moves from your hips and shakes all up your back. Pounds on your chest like a heart attack. You feel it in your veins, deep inside of you. It feels so good, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I feel a rhythm, it's in my head. I feel it shaking, just shaking it. I feel the rhythm, it's in my head. I feel the rhythm, I feel the rhythm. 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 Come on, baby, come on, baby.
hours of trawling through archive.org for all of that.
Man.
That's the rhythm.
You killed
Ian
it.
Blackwood and the Bipolars. Man, it's a great track. It really is. It's just one of those tracks you just can't help but bob your head and tap your foot and have a little jig to.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was one of those that I was like, I kind of meant it was meant to be written. I remember just like again watching Reservoir Dogs and then hearing that, and I was just like, wait a minute, I gotta write a tune like that, and adding the cowbell, like there's a little bit of everything in that. The slide guitar was I love slide guitar and I love harmonica. Those are the things I love a lot. And if you actually listen to the early, it's funny you mentioned Living, which was the EP that the Artist Life, that was our first official EP. If you listen to that, there's a lot of slide guitar on that and there's harmonica on that. Like, it's interesting how you start with one idea and then, just eventually you start going another way. We started going more pop, more slick. But that Living record's kind of neat because it was an example of where we could have went had we gone a little more raw or whatever. So I'm proud of the way we went, but I just, it's just fun to hear like the different elements and how they've come back now, and I incorporated some of those elements that I wanted to in the Bipolar stuff. So
You've always had a slight Americana country edge to the stuff that you do.
yeah, thanks. First of all, I love country. I absolutely love it. Ask me when I was 22 or 18, 19, 20, I'd tell you I hate it. I absolutely love it, especially now. I love modern. What I love about modern country, and I know a lot of people, they don't necessarily call it country, they bro country. They have different sort of genre, their own sort of creative genre names for it. But I like modern country. One of my biggest things I love about it is the production. I love loud, slick production. Nice big drums, stereo spread, hot vocal in the mix. Like, I love that, man.
And,
I love it.
You can see that in your work. I mean, you actually done some mixing for me at one point in time. And obviously,
yeah, that's right.
Came back with that similar big drum sound, nice wide vocals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, I think it's a good way to go. We've mentioned Sarah. You've got another sister, Jen.
Jen, that's right, the oldest of the three.
Very talented tattoo artist.
Yeah, and an extremely talented musician as well in her own right. But yeah, so incredibly talented tattoo artist. She's responsible for my entire.
Let's put this on full screen,
right
shall
arm.
we?
Sure. See some of the work here. This is my. I had these tattoos actually lasered. My old ones I had lasered off, and some of them were actually Jen's very first tattoos. But she was. I promised her she could do the entire arm if she was okay with me lasering off her old work. So. But I mean, that's as a family member, it's the things you got to do, right? People are getting into an industry and they need skin, so I said, hey, you can use me. And then, so I'll be working on my left arm, but yeah, my right arm's pretty much done now. And then she owns all of that, and then she owns some. Actually, one of my favorite tattoos ever is I still have it. It's my amp. And it's my nickname on it for my last name's Blackwood, so my nickname is Blackie. And there's a volume knob that goes to 11 on it.
I like the way you done that in the London accent as well. That was good. Well done.
Spinal Tap. Yeah.
So, what else is going on? Obviously, we've been in lockdown, and you've mentioned that you've been working on a project with Graham Black. Make sure I get it around the right way. And you've got some of your own material coming out. So, why don't you give us a song? Show us what you've been working on during lockdown. I think it's about time you have something live.
Okay, we're gonna try this. I'm gonna get a little reverb going on the vocal. I'm gonna do hey.
There we go.
A little cave there. So I'm gonna do a little version. I've just released a new record, a new EP called Anthems and Algorithms, and the first track on it, which I love so much. The production on it, again, it's the typical Ian, like, let's go over the top, make it slick. I had a friend of mine, Anthony, mix it. But I'm going to do a stripped down version of the song. It's called Catch This Feeling. I wrote this song with two friends of mine years ago, Mike Fox and James Robertson. And it never found a place to live. And then I don't know, I cracked it open a month and a half ago, and I thought, you know what, this would sound really good on the EP. So here we go.
Feel the movement come, just like we were in a dream. Closed eyes open on us, dancing in the rain. Simple images of love often complicate the way we can open up, just like we are in a dream. This is our time. We can catch this feeling, catch this feeling, catch this feeling, catch this feeling coming around. Lost in moments now, just like we were in a dream. Warm eyes open up, only hoping to retain all the memories, so that we don't lose a thing. Pull me in closer, just like we are in a dream. Open our arms so we can catch this feeling, catch this feeling, catch this feeling, catch this feeling coming around. Catch this feeling, 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 catch this feeling coming around.
Oh man,
Thank
loving
you.
it. I said to you earlier when we done a quick sound check and stuff like that, and I'm sure the people like Andy and Richard who are in the chat room who have watched the jam night would agree with me. That is probably the best live sound I've had on the show. Well done.
Oh man, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
You're a bit of a
I'd be
sonic
lying if I told you
architect,
I was
aren't
trying
you?
really hard. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd be, like I said, I'd be lying if I wasn't trying to make sure it was, crispy and nice and balanced. And yeah, I mean, I want to hear nice audio, and I want people to hear nice audio. So I appreciate it, Ian. Thank you very much.
No, that's awesome, and a lovely song as well. Proper heartfelt. And do you know what? I don't think I've ever seen you play live.
There you go. Now you have. So.
Yeah, and that's cool because obviously I started off watching your YouTube videos and bits and pieces
That's
like
true.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you play live. So today has been quite a pleasure for me. I've seen it twice now.
So now you get it, warts and all.
No man, no warts there. I wish I could do what you do as well as you do. From that point of view. So that's off the new EP. Let's talk a little bit about the new EP.
Yeah, so it was, I was having a COVID brain moment of sort of artistically lost in the abyss of what I felt like doing, but at the same time, I saw it as a time to use wisely. I'm usually we're neck and knee deep in, my wife and I run a wedding photography company, so usually we're just absolutely slaughtered with weddings, and we're so busy that I don't necessarily have time to do as much musically inclined things and film, short film acting things. So but the COVID hit, and I mean there's obviously it's been a horrible experience for many people. I mean, talking 23, 24 million cases, hundreds, almost over 800,000 deaths now that we know of, and it's obviously a sad thing. And but I mean, I felt deep down, I was like, I gotta do. I can't just sit inside and sit in quarantine and isolation and not get creative. So I saw it as a chance to say, okay, well, it's an interesting time. It's an unprecedented time, that's for sure, in my lifetime. So why not take advantage of this downtime and just put together some music? And I'm always sitting on sort of catalog songs that, not always, but for the most part, I've got a ton of music that could always use a better mix, or maybe a different style, or a rewrite here, or an adjustment there. And I started digging out some tunes that I really liked. Catch This Feeling was one of those. I always thought, it has this Killers vibe. The album version, it's got a very sort of Killers 80s rock vibe with the synths and a nice little dance groove BPM. But it was just I had a bit of a moment. I thought, okay, I want to release a record. I want to do something. I want to do something with this time. And so I called up Johnny from Walk Off the Earth, who owns Golden Carrot Records. He graciously released my first album 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago to the date. It was called Cold Water, and there's some tunes on there that were tunes that Ian, you would have heard, half a decade ago, that I finally decided to put together and remix up. And it was a little more singer-songwriter country vibe. And then this time around, I said to him, I want to do something a little different. I want to do basically Where My Head's At EP, where I want to throw a whole bunch of songs on it that there's no sort of genre continuity. There's no sort of like even mixed continuity. I just wanted it to be what it was. I just wanted it to be music that, you could listen to on a pop playlist, or maybe on a punk rock playlist, or maybe on a country playlist, stuff like that. I wanted to dive in deep and not have any restrictions.
So that's, Alex Blackburn in the chat has actually just said, how did you choose the Pixies cover for the EP, and how do you choose what track to cover?
Great question, Alex. Also, shout out. How are you, brother? The Pixies was the last, and I'm not kidding you, I had literally finished the masters. Zach Gerber, who we talked about earlier, young Zach, he actually he mixed a song too. He mixed a song called Self-Destructive State. He was finishing the masters, and it was only supposed to be a 4-song EP. He sent it to me. I listened to the masters, said it sounds great. He was actually calling me when I was humming Where's My Mind? And I thought to myself, I've always wanted to cover this song. And honestly, I sat down in front of my studio computer. I grabbed an acoustic guitar. I listened to the track a couple of times, and then I just grabbed the guitar and I said, I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to put it on the EP. One of the things Johnny likes from Golden Carrot Records is when he releases music, he likes, especially albums, he likes a few covers because he knows he can really push them. He's got licensing deals with certain companies, and he's got ways he can really market these things. He's really good at marketing. As we know, Walk Off are really great at marketing cover songs, so he definitely pushes that and pushes for that. And I had the Bruce Springsteen cover of I'm on Fire already, but the Pixies was one of those songs I've just always wanted to cover. And I mean, it's also the reason why it's one of my favorite songs is because it's in the closing credits in the last scene of the film Fight Club. And that's one of my all-time favorite films. That song is just, it's just such a benchmark. And ahead of its time, too. I mean, the cool thing about it is I always thought of Pixies as a 90s band, but they were actually an 80s band. And, Where's My Mind, it was just one of those tunes that I thought was just so, now realizing it was ahead of its time. You listen to the mix on it, and even the mix and the songwriting, and it's such a grunge rock era song, but it's actually before the era. So, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's have a listen to that one then. Here is Where Is My Mind, just for Alex.
Right. Thanks, Alex.
My mind, where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Way out in the water, see it swimming. With your feet on the air and your head on the ground, try this trick and spin it. Yeah. Your head will collapse if there's nothing in it, and you'll ask yourself, where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Way out in the water, see it swimming. With your feet on the air, your head on the ground, try this trick and spin it. Yeah.
That little bit at the end is every broadcaster's worst nightmare.
I thought about you. I was like, I wonder if he'll cut it off. I wouldn't blame you if you did.
I've got a timer. It goes to 0. Then I press the button. I learnt that early on. Where is my? That's a wicked cover, man. It really is. It's quite faithful to the original.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, man, what do you do with, in my opinion, a perfect song? What do you do to make it maybe not better? They can't, but what do you do to make it your own? Yeah, like I thought of the first part I thought of was how the bass player actually, she sings that ooh part, and I thought, 'cause there's no way I can sing that high. I don't have that register, and it's more so in a female register. But then I also thought to myself, it'd be kind of cool is, again, bring the elements that I bring in to my music, which is a lot of slide guitar, a lot of sort of ambient slide guitar, the droney, a little bit dark, sort of like sinister kind. And I thought, why don't I just do that? So I did a harmony of it on the slide guitar, and I just thought, kind of like a pedal steel vibe, and I thought it really kind of served a good purpose, and I thought it sat really nice. Didn't do much. It's very simple. It's a acoustic guitar up the middle, stereo right, left, electric guitars.
Sounds gorgeous, by the way, that acoustic.
Oh, thanks, man. That's my Martin. Yeah, I have a Martin Dreadnought. It's the best thing that I ever bought for my studio. So I definitely needed to. I put it on everything for sure. It's like my Frank's hot sauce. I don't know if you guys know what that is in the UK, but I put that shit on everything. That's what they say. It's an American thing, but yeah, it's thank you. And yeah, I had to. I mean, again, it's such a classic tune. I've always wanted to cover it, and I didn't know if I could do Frank Black's justice with the vocal. But then I thought, okay, I don't want to try to sound like the guy, but he seems to be a really quirky kind of slightly avant-garde fella. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do my version of like just kind of cutting loose and having fun with the vocal melody, and so it's I thought I brought some decent
when
chops.
doing covers, especially well-known songs like that, and "Sweet Child of Mine" being a big one. You've got to learn certain parts. Certain parts have got to be in that song for that song to be that song, i.e. the guitar solos on Sweet Child of Mine. They are iconic.
Yeah, I think either that, or you're right, either that or you go a completely different other route and you decide, okay, I'm gonna dissect this thing, but the only problem is you can run into some serious trouble of like just completely making a shit show of a cover. So yeah, I honestly, like, I wanted to honor the tune. The tune is just so great. It's such a great tune. So I'm glad you liked it. Thanks for playing it, man.
So we were chatting earlier, and you were very prolific on social media at one point in time. We used to chat on Twitter and other Instagram and YouTube, and you've kind of trimmed that back now. So if people do want to find you, where is best for them to visit? Where should they look?
The two best spots are either Instagram, just instagram.com/theianblackwood, or YouTube is still. I still have my channel cooking. My content is right now. I'm on an album. I'm on an album push, so I've got new videos coming. I've got some collaborations coming. I've got different sort of things on the go. I think my camera just shut out again. Oh, there you go. So yeah, youtube.com/theianblackwood. It's all branded The Ian Blackwood, so at least got that part right. But yeah, those are my two main sources now of socials. Just because, again, I was saying earlier to Ian, I love the collage idea of Instagram. I think it's great, and you can just post a simple photo or post a little story or a little video. You can use it as a nice little tool to tease video clips and stories. And then obviously YouTube's great because you can post full-length videos, and I mean everyone's still using YouTube, so yeah.
So YouTube and Instagram, The Ian Blackwood. Go check out some of Ian's other stuff. We've got loads to go on with. We're not going to say we're not going home yet, but
Nope.
well, we are home. But you know what I mean. How's it been, man? Quite seriously, you know. Aside from making new music, which is always a positive, you know, you've lost a lot of business from photography, and you know, what's it like over there for us foreigners?
I mean, you know, I feel like Canadians are doing a pretty good job. We're pretty compliant in you know, when we're inside places and can't be six feet apart, and we wear a mask, and when you're outside, it's okay, you can take the mask off as long as you're socially distanced. I feel like Canadians are doing a pretty good job. Yeah, I think for me personally, it's just been a moment to kind of slow down, and that was one thing I actually didn't realize is kind of okay to slow down a little bit and sort of like take in what life just kind of is thrown at you. Yeah, we've definitely had a very interesting revenue year for the photography business because we're now on essentially most of our business is rescheduled to next year, which has been an interesting time for my wife because she's the one who mans the phones when it comes to that kind of thing. So she's having an interesting time with that. But I mean, our clients are so great, and they've been, I mean, everybody is just, it's kind of the year of, I call it the year of understanding, in a sense that we've all kind of got to make room for this this big global pandemic. So
I'm hoping for a reboot instead of 2021. I'm just hoping for a reboot of 2020. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 2020 2.0 or something like that.
Yeah, the upgrade.
But yeah, I mean, again, like it's just about like, you know, we've been doing a couple of small weddings, 25 people in attendance, socially distanced, and it's like it's actually been really cool to experience weddings in such a small format. In that, man, it makes you kind of think sometimes maybe weddings should be like this more often. I mean, my wife and I had a smaller size wedding in comparison to most Western style weddings and most probably weddings across the globe, really. But so it's a chance to kind of reflect on that, and you know, we're still, you know, we're cooking up a few photo shoots here and there where we can, as long as it's safe to do so, and you know, it's okay. We're managing. It's just, I think that's another thing too about this year, the theme of just managing and just, you know, remembering not to take certain things for granted, and just to try to be present in the moment as much as you can be. And as probably ironic as that sounds, some people are like, oh, shut up, man, whatever. But, you know, just trying to just be grateful for what you have, and you know, your loved ones and the close ones that you can be with, and your close friends, and, you know, and your brain. Don't be so hard on your brain all the time.
Yeah.
Give it some time to rest.
Wise advice, man. Wise advice. Don't beat yourself up. I mean, you know, family is a big thing to you. You've got quite a large family.
Yes, yes, I do.
And how was that? I mean, obviously not being able to see the nieces and nephews, and
I got to see my nephews finally for the first time since, honestly, like February, and it was a couple of weeks ago. I got to be honest with you, on the phone with Sarah just before we sort of arranged a family do, Romeo, my littlest, one of my littlest nephews, he just said, like, hey, I miss you guys to my wife and I, and I got a little teary-eyed, man. I was just like, I miss you too. You know, and then but I still haven't been able to go see my nieces yet. My oldest sister has 3 kids as well, and I haven't been able to see my nieces and my other little nephew Joshua. So, be nice to see them too. Hopefully, I can get something cooking with Jen. But she's a little further down the road. She's not. Sarah's a little, like about I don't know, about a half hour drive. But Jen's a little further. She's in another town, a few towns over. So, but she's actually in the town of London, but not London, England, London, Ontario. But yeah, so it's been interesting. Honestly, I'd like to see the family more. I'd like to see my nephews more, and I'd like to see my sisters more. But we're also, again, I have pulmonary valve stenosis, so I was born with a cardiac disease that I had surgery for when I was a small child. So unfortunately, I'm in what's called the high-risk category for COVID-19. So I've got to be very, very careful. Got to be very cautious. So, and it being something that can be, an asymptomatic spread from a child simply to me over a cup of coffee, you never even know. So got to be careful with certain things, but yeah.
Of course you have. And I think, that is wise advice totally, is you've got to do what suits you for now. There's no point in rushing ahead with things that you're unsure about. Take the time, take it easy, do what suits you, and it will work itself out.
Yeah,
hopefully.
And do the projects you can. I mean, like we were speaking earlier about Gray and Black. It's a new project I've got going, a new band I've got going with my friend Chris. Chris is a historic dude. He's a fellow that I grew up actually idolizing when I was a freshman in high school, and he was a senior, and he played in a lot of local bands from the we call it the 905 area, from 905 416 area. He was one of the fellows I looked up to huge, and then I'll give you the short of the version of the story. He approached me after I'd released a single called Coming Home a few years ago on Spotify, and which actually ended up being part of my Cold Water record. But he approached me and said, "Listen, I'm looking for a producer. I've got music. I've been kind of in musical hibernation, and I want to hop back onto the music scene, and I got some song ideas, and I want you to, I'm interested in having you produce." So we started a relationship there, and did some songwriting camps. I took he's a crazy eclectic writer. He can write the spookiest, just Radioheady kind of like minor, very cool eclectic tunes. And I said, okay, well, the only difference is my approach is extremely slick pop. So how do you feel about that? And he said, dude, that's exactly why I want to hire you, because I want you to take these eclectic, dark, really cool, stormy ideas and maybe help me polish them up a little bit, and maybe just move things around. So it's exactly what we did. We just took his ideas, and some of his song ideas work maybe a couple of songs actually in one. So we would dissect it a little bit, and then I'd say, okay, that's your chorus. No, that's definitely your verse. And he's such a cool lyric writer. He's really good at telling stories. So, and he's always been that way. Even his old bands. He was in a band called the China White back in the '90s, and then he was in a progressive pop punky kind of like hardcore band called the Black Maria, and they were on a record label called Victory Records at the time, which was like one of the most responsible labels for the sort of post-hardcore pop emo world. And Chris was touring with bands like Evanescence, and he was doing big stadium tours with his band. And I always, like I said, I always looked up to the guy, and I thought he was a rock star. He could sing like no other. So after we established the relationship of writing, we started doing the production thing, and we landed on 6-7 songs that are done, just need to be mastered, and we're just sitting going, okay, how long is this COVID thing going, because we really want to get the actual band off the ground and gigging. So, but yeah.
So I'll tell you what, let's have a Grey and Black song.
Sick.
Now you sent me one over specifically. We've been playing Out of My Head, which is a great track, really enjoy that. But you sent me one over at Last Knockings today called Into the Light. I haven't actually heard it properly yet, so this is new for me as well.
All right,
so,
perfect timing.
Anything you want to say about this before or should we just release it?
I think the only thing I will say, for the time and for the times that we're in, and even because you played the Artist Life song, I'm Not the Same Anymore, this song really, I think, relates very well to taking moments and, throwback moment into enjoying, being young and just, being vibrant and excited. And I think the tune's got all that, so let's spin it.
Remember, we're not old. Here it goes.
When we were young, we dreamt of a future where we'd be gone from a town like this. Now that we're old, those dreams are in a distance.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I should say too, just before we chit chat, I want to get it out there. That's a Zach Gerber mix master, by the way. He mixed that track too.
That's
He's
huge.
becoming, yeah, he's man, like, I mean, I'm obviously a production hound, and I love adding, this, that, the other thing, and he just took he took the song to the next level. And you hear Chris, like, Chris has this ability. He's actually the guy I could have hired to sing that part for the "Where Is My Mind" because his register is the entire piano, but. Yeah, that's a Zach Gerber. Anyone who's interested, that's Skytrack Studios. That's his mix master. He crushed it, man. Like, it sounds so. Like, I told him, I said, we want this thing to sound as big as possible and as slick as possible. And like his fader writing, his automation, his compression. Dude, I'm so proud of him. He crushed that mix master.
Mate, the whole thing. I mean, elements of, as you said, Radiohead, but there's a bit of Bowie in there. There's a bit, bit of Peter Gabriel, bit of Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, you're naming all of Chris's huge influences, and one of the reasons why I hopped on board because Chris unlocked my Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins love, which there's a bit of Phil Collins in my new EP Anthems and Algorithms as well, like with the song Goodbye Tonight and stuff, which we can talk about later. But yeah, they Peter Gabriel, the Radiohead, the Bowie. Chris is a big Bowie fan. Like, yeah, it's all there, man. It's all in there, and I think we did it justice and did it service because his tunes, he's got these fantastic ideas up in that crazy creative brain of his, and it was just about trying to harness, in my opinion, the most sort of pop structure, but not harming the songs, like giving the songs room to breathe, but also giving it a structure enough so people will just keep getting enchanted by it, and just getting deeper and deeper into the tunes, the way the tunes are structured. And,
that chorus just builds and builds and builds and just takes you on that ride with it, which is what a strong chorus should do.
I think so, yeah.
So look,
and he writes choruses like that. It's just, it took a little extra structuring and a little bit of moving and moving parts and moving pieces around and stuff. That's it. So yeah.
So we've talked a lot about family. But before this, where can they get Graham Black? Where can people find out more about this?
So we released our 2 singles on all digital outlets. So you can go to your Spotify's. Spotify, just Google Gray and Black. Same with iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play. The Out of My Head and Into the Light are both up there, and we're planning on trying to finish up some of the EP of sorts. It might even turn into a sort of a short length, full length, 8 songs. Chris is the kind of guy he's so creative. So, but yeah, same as with the EP Anthems and Algorithms. You can get it. It's all Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. Just search Ian Blackwood. So yeah.
Awesome. So, as I was about to say, we've talked a lot about family. It's important to you. We've talked about your sisters.
Yes.
And then you mentioned Goodbye Tonight, which I know is a track that, I've talked about, and it is very near and dear to you. I think I'd like to play that next.
Absolutely.
And have a chat about that. And then also, let's do another live number if you're up for that.
Yeah. You want to do the live number now, or do you want to do the tune live number first?
Let's do the live number first. Yeah, let's do that. So this is the other cover off of the EP.
Yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite Bruce Springsteen songs, which I turned into a cover. It's called "I'm on Fire," and yeah. There's a video for it too. If you check out youtube.com/theianblackwood, you can check out the video. Hey there, pretty girl, is your man at home? Did he go away and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Tell me now, baby, is he good to you? Can he do it to you, the things that I do? No, I can take you higher. Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, I'm on fire.
Sometimes it's like someone took a nap, baby, itchy and dull. Got a 6-inch valley to the river in my soul. And at night I wake up with the sheets soaking wet and a freight train running through the middle of my head, and only you can cool my desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. I'm on fire.
Very nice, sir. Again, loving
very
the
much.
sound, loving the sound of all of it, man. Again, really nice to hear that broken down. And Andy's saying the guitar sound is crystal. What amps and pedals are you using?
So I'm running through a Vox AC15, sort of one of my beauties. Just sort of a semi-driven channel, nothing too crazy. And then I'm running. This is the newest in my arsenal. Can you think I
Let's
don't
have a
have
look at that
enough?
properly.
But you don't think I have enough already? It's just a nice little Fender player Telecaster. It's all stock. I didn't do anything to it. The only thing I changed was the black strap knobs. It's all stock. I love it. I'm playing the for these tunes. I've just been playing the neck pickup. Just very nice, sort of open, wide, sort of warm tone. I'm running a handful of pedals below, 2 of which I'm using reverb and my delay, which is I think it's a JDS Fat Cat delay, if I get that right. And then I got a Holy Grail Nano or Neo electro harmonics for the Verb. Your standard Boss tuner, but yeah, that's my sort of go-to sound right now. I still am. I mean, very much a Marshall guy too. I've got an old 1980s Marshall JCM100 that I break out if I ever want to have the stack sound, which is the Angus Young head. But yeah, and I should probably tell people just the nerd part of it. I'm running Universal Audio Apollo, so I'm running the Apollo software as well. So I have the console. I've got some nice compression on the vocals. I got a nice EMT reverb going. I got a little de-essing going. So I think that's important just to address the fact that I really do believe that Universal Audio got some of the best audio equipment. I've been enjoying now for almost 5, 6, 7 years, all their audio processing. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why it sounds nice and sweet. I'm glad everyone's enjoying the live audio, and I'm happy you're enjoying it, Ian, as well.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, because if you didn't, you weren't going to do it. We were just going to talk. So I'm glad you like the sound. That's all I'm saying.
I know I was definitely I had a moment there. We just to tell the listeners and viewers, we definitely had a bit of a quick little sound check, and you could tell I was starting to sweat a little bit, because I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. This is we got to make sure this is sounding right and sounding proper. So, good.
Well, I think it's again, I said before, you're a bit of a sonic architect. Everything you touch sounds right. And I don't. It's not overproduced. It's not underproduced.
Right.
It's right. It's where it should be. Even your live sound, and I think it's amazing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So let's talk a little bit about Goodbye Tonight. I know this is a track that's special. It features yourself as well as both of your sisters on the song.
That's right. Yeah, Sarah and Jen both. This song's got some very special history to it. I wrote this song for a very special person that unfortunately my family lost a few years back, and it had a couple of different genre morphs when I first wrote it. I first wrote it at a time where I was a little more angsty mood, and I was writing this sort of pop punky song, anthemic-y, upbeat. And then it took a couple of different mutations until I finally landed on the way it's shaped now, which is on the EP anthems and algorithms. So, and two things happened. I was writing this David Foster piano line, and it's way too adult contemporary, and I was not happy with it, but the BPM I was happy with, and the way the song was starting to structure, that there's a bit of a Phil Collins drum loop that kicks in, midway through verse 2 where Sarah starts to sing. So I was loving how the structure was coming, but I was still hating my not to take any shots at David Foster, by the way. The guy's a genius. I just didn't like how I was getting a little too AC with it. I wanted it to be a little more edgy. So I rewrote the piano line like 5 times until I finally settled on the final sort of riff piano lick that you hear. But one of the most interesting parts of it was something was missing before I had asked my sisters to be part of this song, which was very important because again, being a dedication to a very, very important family member of ours, I had to have my sisters on it. So, and not only that, they're both musicians, so I saw it as an opportunity to also get some pre-production notes from them. And Sarah, of course, very busy, very active musician, and very active mother with her kids. She had very little to say. She's like, I love the tune, just send it to me. And they walk off has a studio, so I was able to do that remotely, no problem. Jen, on the other hand, she's always been maybe the more I guess more, I don't want to say judgmental, but she's definitely very deep into the constructive criticism world, in which I like. She actually had a couple of lyric shifts she wanted to move, and she had a couple of lyric ideas, and then just a couple of song structure ideas that I thought would actually help the overall production. And she was right. We made those moves. And then the adventure of getting Jen, because Jen obviously doesn't own a recording studio, she owns a tattoo studio, so she doesn't, she's not one of these people that own everything we have. So I ended up arranging a COVID-safe environment for her with actually young Zach Gerber. Again, he keeps showing up in my life, and I love it. I ended up arranging so she could have a studio date at his place, because she lives very close to Zach. Zach's, again, he's more outside, more to the west side of Ontario. So Jen and Zach were able to team up, and we got Jen's vocals on there, and I got Sarah's vocals in there, and I started drumming up the mix. And I actually ended up mixing the song. I didn't want to mix it in the end, but at the same time, I had this feeling deep down that it had to be me to mix it, just because it was a very important song. There was a part of me where I was battling with sending it out and having it mixed with different mix artists, but at the end of the day, I'm super happy how it turned out. I think it speaks volumes as to where I'm at now, and again, to the message of the song and having my sisters part of it. I think it's I wouldn't have had it any other way, and I'm so stoked that they were able to. We were able to figure it out and get Jen in the studio, Sarah in the studio, and get it all done and tied up. So done and dusted. So
it's a lovely track. So let's have a listen to that now. I played this last Monday, I do believe, actually, as well. Let's have a listen to this again. This is Goodbye Tonight.
Taking things for granted, we seem to be quite good at it. Golden moments fleeting, memories and dreaming. But I just hope I'll hold on deep inside my soul, never letting go of all the highs and the lows. But we know we didn't know. Now you're gone, and I'm afraid to swim. Even when the water's calm, the air's still getting thin. You're still there when the wind runs up my neck. But I won't say goodbye tonight, 'cause I know one day we'll meet again.
If only I had another day with you, I would talk to you, I would listen to you, and I'd hope you stay forever. But we
Amazing track, man. Really, really
you.
nice.
Do we want to talk about the Coldplay ripoff, or that has a meaning? Did you do you notice it?
No.
So out of the bridge, so there's a very important meaning for that, and it's at the celebration of life of the person that we did lose. We, as a group, my sisters, even my father joined, and then actually Johnny played too. We played "Fix You" by Coldplay, and we dedicated the song to this person, and it was a very important moment because it was the first time like my entire family, like my dad, even my dad played, my sisters played, Johnny played the drums, and we had this when we did the celebration of life. We did it was kind of like a concert. We had I played, then Sarah played, Jen played, Sarah and Jen played together. My aunt played her fiddle. There were some speeches. It was a very like show. It was at a funeral home, but they allowed us to do all this, and we had Zach once again was there. He did the sound, but we had this big celebration of life that was musical, and it was like all of the things that I knew she would have wanted there. So that song was very important. And then when I was writing "Goodbye Tonight" and trying to come up with sort of the end structure from the bridge to the last chorus, it all made sense, and I was like, oh, I have to do this. This has to be in there. And then just a quick lyrical shift, and then sort of poet license stealing of all I wanted was to fix you. It just made sense, and it just felt good, and it felt right, so I did it.
Mate,
so Chris Martin,
it's
don't come
not
after
a
me.
rip-off. It's a tribute.
It's a tribute, yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's lovely. I mean, I've done that a lot with songs in the past, where you've done just a little bit, just enough for people to recognise where you're coming from, or for you to recognise where you're coming from. Sometimes it's just that important. But I mean, is that the first time you, Sarah, and Jen have recorded together? I know you've done stuff with Sarah, but I've never heard you do anything with Jen before.
That's the very first time that's actually the very first track we're all on together in history for the Blackwood siblings. So that's a cool moment too, and that it's a tribute.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I've been the champion of my sisters since I can remember, and with Jen, there's funny stories of when she was in her first band, Thule, to audition for the band. I not only did I set up we had the band to try Jen out. I was working for a friend of mine's recording studio and rehearsal space at the time. I just said to the band, come here. So I set Jen up with all of my gear, my guitars, and my amps. So when the band showed up, not only, I mean, she's an incredible artist. She's already an amazing guitar player and singer. But when the band auditioned her, she had a Gibson, like a 1999 Gibson SG Standard. She had a Marshall. She had better gear than most of the band at the time. And then she got the job that day. So I was, I've always been a champion of my sisters. So I haven't actually recorded. Jen and I did a couple of little covers that never saw the light of day, except for the own four walls of our homes. But this is the official first track we've all been on together, which I thought was kind of fitting, So
yeah, and lovely tribute from that point of view, and nice to hear the family coming together. As you say, family's a really big thing for you, and I know your family's getting bigger all the time. Christmas is getting more expensive every year.
Not to mention more talented. The fun thing about that track too is Jen actually sings the low. She has this really special low register. Jen's got another one of these registers where she's like 3/4 of a piano. Sarah's in a certain spot. I'm in a certain spot. But we always joke Jen's the best singer out of all of us. So and she hates it because she's like, no, I'm not. But we're like, yeah, you are. If anyone is ever curious to hear Jen in her all high and mighty awesomeness, if you listen to the Creepshow's first record, "Sell Your Soul," that's Jen. She wrote that record with Sean in the band, and she wrote those songs, and she sings on that record. And then after "Sell Your Soul" was Sarah, and then obviously Sarah moved on to "Walk Off the Earth." But if anyone's curious to hear Jen in all of her mightiness, she's got the very Brody Dahl Distillers type voice, but she's also got this low register. And Sarah and I were chit-chatting about "Goodbye Tonight," and I said to Sarah, I think I'm gonna get Jen to actually sing, because usually you'd kind of get the male to do the low stuff. And have have the alto stuff or whatever soprano stuff, kind of leave it to the female. But I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna get Jen to do all this sort of baritone low stuff, and it was incredible because she crushed it, and she has this soothing low voice. And then you get to hear her in the bridge. That's her on her own at the very end of the bridge. I'm too scared to swim part. But she's singing all the low stuff throughout the tune, and it just gives me chills, man. Chills. So.
Again, it's it's got a hauntingness about it, but not
Yes.
in a nasty, evil haunting type way. Just a very sort of gentle, calming hauntiness.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to have this eerie, yeah, and an enchanting sort of like hauntingness to it. But
Yeah.
and you know, and there's the circumstances of what happened. You know, there's a bit of darkness to it, so I'm not afraid to embrace that and showcase that in the tune. But I also wanted the positive swing to happen as well. So and I think we achieved it. So.
And you saying your dad plays, and your whole family plays. Is it, so you really come from a musical background?
Yeah, my dad's an avid classical guitar player, nylon string player, and acoustic guitar player. That's how I started playing guitar, was because of my dad. He had a little guitar tree that had he had a Yamaha. He still has it to this day, this Yamaha steel string from the 70s acoustic. It's amazing. It has this neck on it that's like a baseball bat. It's incredible. Like, it's one of these Yamaha. The thing about that I love about Yamaha guitars is people don't realize, like, you know, it's you can get a Yamaha guitar for $200 or less. Probably like 150, maybe 100 pounds in Britain. I don't know how much Yamahas would sell it there, but they're not very expensive, and they get better with age. They're really like a fine wine, man. But my dad always had guitars lying around, and my mom played piano. Like, she loved playing piano, and my mom could sing too. Not a lot of people knew that, but that's actually where we think we got a lot of our voice abilities is from my mother too. So. Yeah.
Wow. So it's in the family, and that's the way it should be. Keep the music. So, mate, it's 10:15. I normally say we do this for an hour. We've run over because we're having a good time. We're having a chat.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all good fun. So what we'll do is I'll just do a quick rundown of what we've got coming up. Don't forget, this Thursday we've got the Jam Night. We've got Richard Carr from the Moosemen co-hosting with me and Tony this week. So that's going to be a laugh. There could be other Moosemen popping up during the show. I don't know. Moosemen, Canadian, it all links in.
Yeah, there you go.
And Saturday, we're not doing a quiz night Saturday. Kevin and Lisa are off to somewhere other than home on holiday. We're taking the quiz night off this week, so we'll be back next week with that. So not this Saturday afterwards. And next Monday, I'm going to be doing another Unsigned special with Dave Bryce and Colin Harkness of Spider, who we're going to play some Spider stuff. We're going to play some of their new stuff, which they got recorded just before lockdown. And Josh has been working on the mixes and the videos during that time. So we're going to have a bit of a debut of that. That's going to be fun. Dave Bryce used to do MSI with us as well.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice.
So, yeah, I've just got the old MSI crew back together. We've had Rich on, you know, we've had Sam Kelly on.
Nice.
That's how it is.
Get the band back together, right?
That's the way it should be, especially during these times. Mate, seriously, thank you. For joining me tonight for our chats over lockdown. It's been very enlightening, and it's been great to sort of compare notes on COVID. And thanks for your friendship and for the music. I kid you not, I am the man with the best lockdown playlist ever, and you have contributed to that quite heavily. So thank you very much for all the music and bits and pieces. Before we go, let's talk about your acting. We haven't touched on that. What's going on with that? You've been on my TV in kids shows entertaining my children.
Yeah. I very much took a sort of a back seat with it, just because it was becoming very apparent that it was clashing with the photography business. But during COVID, it was a time to dig into that side of my brain too, and I ended up I made a short film called It's Over. You can check that out on my YouTube as well, youtube.com/the Ian Blackwood. It's a short film called It's Over, and I ended up actually getting a bit of cool recognition. I entered it to the Isolation Short Film Festival in Toronto, and I ended up getting a honorable mention during their broadcast, and they showcased it. And then I decided, well, yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. I had no expectations really. I was just I saw that they were doing this film fest, and I thought, okay, I'm going to submit. And a friend of mine and we sort of hacked out a couple ideas over text, and then he said, oh, you should do a film about post-pandemic and the day it's over, and what the things that you would do, and once you're out of lockdown. So It's a 3-minute film, and that was the parameters. It had to be under 3 minutes. I think it's 2 minutes and 48 seconds. So I mean, if anybody's got 3 minutes of time to burn, you want to go check that out, I suggest it. It's pretty funny.
It is good. I've watched it. It's very, very good.
I ended up doing a British version actually, because I submitted it to the UK Isolation Film Fest, and again it ended up getting honorable mention. So shout out to Alex Blackburn for that. Alex, appreciate that. I did the UK version, which is on their website. If you check out the Isolation Film Festival, the UK one, there's a
Please
Brit
tell
version
me you've done your British accent.
So I do a Scottish accent.
Come on.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do it now. You gotta watch the short film to check that out. But yeah. So I've just been kind of not on hold, but like I'm kind of doing the filming and the acting stuff that I want to do. Like I was able to be the lead in Walk Off the Earth's last video for their song "I'll Be There," which ended up going gold in Canada, and it's been doing quite well in the charts for them globally. I was able to play the lead in that, and that's a really great video. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you guys search "I'll Be There" by Walk Off the Earth. It touches on mental health and all those sorts of things, especially the things that we're dealing with right now, with the COVID and with the isolation and stuff. So I was able to get that done in just at the end of the 2019 year, just before we went into ISO. So, but yeah, I think right now I'm just kind of focusing on the stuff that I really, really want to do, which is great. Acting world, it becomes very sort of robotic, but also at the same time it can become sort of depressing, and it can pound on you pretty hard. So you have to pretty thick skin, and I don't know. I just needed a bit of a break. But now I'm kind of back out of my creative juices. Maybe I'll show up in some audition rooms again in Toronto. We'll see what happens. But yeah.
When you're allowed to go back in rooms in Toronto.
Yeah, I know that they have the industry's fired back up, which is great. I mean, it's great to hear about that for crew and casting directors who have been probably biting their fingernails off all the way down to their first knuckle, thinking, okay, when the heck are we going to be able to start this thing again? So it's good to hear that the industry's going again and moving. But again, being a higher risk person, it's scary to think that something could happen. So it's got to be mindful and just got to be focused on that. It could still be dangerous out there. So I got to be careful, but just doing what I can. New album, Anthems and Algorithms. I'm stoked on it. You can hear it everywhere, Spotify, iTunes. I'll make sure you guys check that out and give it some spins. And I got videos coming out. I did a video for "I'm on Fire," the Bruce Springsteen cover. I've got a video for "Where's My Mind" coming out probably in a couple of weeks. And then
all I can say is I wanted to be sat around that fire with you when you were playing that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was it got pretty hot on my back, and I had my amp there, my Vox amp there. I was wondering if that thing was going to catch fire, but no, that was man, I had a lot of fun making that. We did it at a friend's in a town just a couple towns over, not too far from here. Some friends of mine. Excuse me. So yeah, it was we had a blast doing that, and then the "Where's My Mind" video is kind of cool. I got a chance to play with some lighting gels and some projector stuff. It's going to be a neat little video, so make sure you guys keep your eyes out for that.
We'll look forward to that. I'll put a link out in the FreakJam group when it's out.
Great. Thanks, Ian.
Dude, again, thanks for joining me, mate. Give me a song. What should we play out with?
Play out with you want to do the self-destructive state from the Anthems and Algorithms? You want to play out with that one?
Is that what it's only come in as self-destruct? So self-destructive.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
State.
Why don't we play it with that one? That's that one's kind of fun, and it's kind of a shout out to the a bit of the cancel culture world that's kind of going on right now, and a little bit of the fake social media kind of like praising that we're doing, and it's a kind of a reminder of like, hey, we need to shake our heads a little bit, and again, we need to be a little more grounded, maybe, I think anyway. So that's the kind of what I wrote the song about. So
awesome. So this is self-destruct. I can't even say it. Self-destructive state by Ian Blackwood. Thank you everyone in the chat for listening. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And Ian, stick around. We'll have a quick chat afterwards.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.